Before I start the video, I want to say a very special thank you to Ankso. His name is just right here. He helped me a lot in the making of this video. He gave me detailed explanations of every position, what they're supposed to do. So shout out to him. Also thanks to Mando and Leia for also helping me in this. DS positioning in 5.1 is rather simple. As the ball moves from the setter to the spiker, you move up. You continually move up. When the setter gets the ball, you move in the middle, this circle. And once the setter gets the ball, you move up for the spiker over here. If your setter is setting the other way for cross, you step from here to here to here. So you step up, then you kind of step back. This is so you can cover crosses just in case they happen. Here are the positions, just in case you want to know. For 5.1 lib, you go from guarding this 4x4 area to, if it goes this way, guarding this 4x6 area highlighted here. All this area in red right here. So as the ball goes from the middle to over there, you're supposed to guard over here. Don't worry about this side over here because the person that is in back row is supposed to cover cross over here. They're supposed to shift from up to down and vice versa with the other side. The DS is supposed to shift from here to here if the ball is set to the other side. As showcased here, if the ball is being set to this side, you're supposed to be moving from middle to here, standing 3 out from the line and 3 up. So you move from here to here as the ball gets into play. One thing important to note is if a spiker is spiking straight at you from lib and you're trying to receive it to a 5.1 setter, you're wanting to step a little bit farther back because this is your character hitbox. As you can see, your hitbox in front of you is bigger than behind you. So if you stand, like this, if you try to receive by going backwards, it's going to be harder than if you're trying to receive going forwards. So make sure if you do it like this, just step a little bit farther back, maybe like half a block, just so it's a little bit easier to receive. So you have less room behind you, which makes sense because your hitbox is smaller, and you have more room in front of you because the hitbox in front of you is bigger. 5.1 positioning for Oppo is pretty simple. When they get the ball, you go up. Then if it goes to this side, you receive just by going up more. So when they receive the ball, you start stepping up as the ball gets closer to the setter. Then as the setter gets the ball to the spiker, you move up to right here. If the ball is set to the other side, you go from here to here. The area you'll be covering is everything in this area. The only thing you won't be covering is this purple area when it's to cross. So you step here, then to here when it goes to cross, here to when the ball gets to the setter, here when the ball gets to the spiker on that side. 5.1 positioning for setter is pretty simple. Basically you start off by blocking over here when the ball is getting hit to the setter. Then if the ball goes over here as shown by the setter butt, you'll be receiving right here in the middle of these squares, basically 1 over for spiker line. You can either stand here or stand 1 back like this. So if the setter sets to the person over here, what you want to do is you want to block cross. You want to block cross because this area right here isn't covered by anybody in 5.1. So make sure you're covering this area and make sure it's a line shot because that'll make it easier on the 2 people standing right here. So further explanation, jump for ape right here, then jump for cross block right here. So positioning for the middle blocker is rather simple. When the setter has the ball, you either stand back or block. You can do either. You can either block for apes or stand back. It's up to you. Then, move in the direction of the ball. You can either glide or, run. Just make sure what you're covering is the inner side of the cross and also the cut. Outside hitter positioning for 5.1. So as the receiver gets the ball and set to the setter, you're supposed to be blocking for ape. Then if the ball goes to this side, you're going to drop back and you're going to be receiving cuts. If the ball goes from the receiver to this side, you'll be trying to block cross. So you'll go from blocking ape to blocking cross. Make sure to block cross because there's nobody to guard this area in the middle right here. So it is crucial that you're right here blocking cross so they don't farm a spot where nobody is supposed to receive anyway. So for 5-1 covers, if both spikers are in the air and the setter is in the air, the person from the oppo position moves up into shorts. The person in the lib position moves up and covers the right side of the covers, the long covers. The person from the DS moves from, their position to the left side covers to cover the long covers on the left side. If only one spiker and setter are up at a time, the covers are going to be that outside hitter or the middle blocker is going to be covering short covers instead. The opposite on covers stands on the right side longs when only one spiker is in the air. The lib steps up, just wrecks, basically walking the line. They just walk back and forth when there's only one spiker up in the air. Then the DS for covers, they move up to the left side. This will not change. They're always on the left side and they're covering the covers on the left side long. These are the powers you're supposed to be receiving for the setter when you're in back row. So as you can see, everything to about 3.5 blocks away from the setter is 1 power. If you're anywhere closer to like the setter, about 2 to 3 blocks out, you can receive onto the net, with 15 bump. If you're any farther than 3.5 out, use 2 power. Then about 5.5 blocks out, use 3. If you're about 6.5 or 7 blocks out, use 4. Then about 8 blocks out, use 5. Then if you're about 9 blocks out, use 6. Then pretty self-explanatory.